I think the thing about this election, it really crystallized that people are unable to have a back and forth in a rational way most of the time. And so I just feel like before I go into any sort of political conversation, it feels like you're gearing up for battle. It feels like you need to be able to defend the statements that you're going to make. And so that's, which is why I don't talk politics with a lot of people. In this post-election climate, gotta stay caffeinated, gotta stay on my toes. All right. With Hillary, I felt that she believed certain things, and then other things she changed her view on to garner more votes. Or the way she spoke about certain issues, I felt like she did it simply to garner more votes and not because that's what she actually believed. The same issue, but in a very different way, with Donald Trump, he said whatever he needed to say to appease the crowd that he was speaking to. It became impossible to know what he actually believed. Yeah. America is flawed, but it represents a lot, and if we can't put forward two candidates who can have a rational discussion about these issues, how can we expect the rest of the world to respect us or to engage in those sorts of conversations themselves? This was my polling place. It's quaint, and there was no line, which was a beautiful thing. To me, the media is just as much to blame for the tone of this election cycle as anybody else, including the candidates. You have 3 pundits on one side, 3 pundits on another, and it's just like a Greco-Roman wrestling match to the death. And then it ends and nothing's resolved, and there's no substance to it. To me, it was just a doubling down of the I'm right, you're wrong, fuck off, don't listen to what they have to say, listen to what I have to say. And it was never actually about anything. It was just about denigrating the other side. I guess my overwhelming feeling about most things when it comes to politics is if it's a question of getting the rights that another group has, then to me that's a no-brainer. And so obviously a lot of those issues aren't no-brainers because we still have legislation that is, in my view, on the wrong side of those issues. I've made a conscious effort to try to talk to people who have diametrically opposing views to me, and it's not always pleasant, but the more that I do that, it sort of comes more naturally. And at the end of the day, very few people, I think, believe that they're the villain of their own stories. So I think everybody comes to an issue with their own form of logic. Most people, I think, agree on 80–85% of the things that need to be done in this country. I mean, if you talk to people about jobs, if you talk to people about healthcare, they may not agree on the method to get to the end result, but most people, I think, there's common ground to be had there. People really need to take a hard look at things that they believe and be willing to engage in an open conversation with people who believe the opposite thing. And at the very least, I think you'll come away with more of an understanding, not necessarily having the view changed, but I think even if you walk away from a conversation like that a little angry or emotionally charged, I think that if you've learned something about the other person on a human-to-human level, I think that's the sort of change that we need. And that's, in my view, that may sound dramatic, but that's our last hope.